This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy!
Welcome to 90forChill, the podcast, and welcome to the complete C2E2 2022 experience. This is your host, Cool Movies Darth. What we're going to do with this episode is that I actually recorded 2 half hours on the Podbean app, which worked pretty well, at least in terms of recording. It didn't really get along well with the iOS 15.6 update. First episode was fine. That was done before my phone updated, and after that it took a good 2 days to get the second day taken care of. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the third day, and then we'll just play those 2 previous recordings right after that. So if you've been listening to the bonus episodes, I don't mind you cutting out after I talk about day 3. Thanks again for coming to 90forChill, the podcast, and enjoy.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
Why, hello. I didn't see you there.
Get out! What are you doing sneaking into a guy's place? I'll call the cops!
Hello again. Welcome to Channel Awesome's YouTube channel, where you can watch me as the Nostalgia Critic, reviewing anything and everything relating to your nostalgia. But it's so much more than watching me as the Nostalgia Critic. You can watch me as Chester A. Bum on Bum Reviews, Dominic on Video Game Confessions, and my most challenging character, Doug Walker, in various sketches, vlogs, and review shows. If you don't like watching my face, though, I pity you, but also recommend a vast variety of other shows that we have, including ones that sometimes have my face in it, so you won't have to panic too much. Or if you want to check out even more people, you can check out ChannelAwesome.com, home to some great reviewers and comedic talent that are not me. But for not being me, they're pretty good. So search around and find what you enjoy. All are welcomed here, especially the elephants that are flying around my face. What is in this shit?
For those who have listened to the Day 2 bonus episode from my C2E2 experience, you'll be glad to know that I did get to talk to Doug Walker, the Nostalgia Critic from Channel Awesomes, and was at least able to get him a business card. But more importantly, bear with me a moment, I just got to get up and try to avoid Skimble. Thank you for your patience. We will get that edited out. This isn't me using an iPhone to record my podcast, but as I say, Podbean, at least quality-wise, pretty solid app, and really makes me think, well, geez, they're just making it easy for the kids everywhere now. But as I was talking, or implying, teasing, dare I say, it's a Tuesday tease, hashtag Tuesday tease, I did purchase a narrative feature the crew at Channel Awesome produced called Kick Asia, or Kickassia, Kickassia, and he said it was 90 minutes, so he doesn't list the time on the DVD art, but he said that, so, and I don't know how easy this is going to get. I would presume he's probably got it on Channel Awesome. So I basically paid for another Doug Jones autograph. But I got, Brad Jones and another Doug Walker autograph. I'm sorry. They do have the issue, and I brought it up to my older sister, that when they brought Stone Gremlins in, which is the cinema snob Brad Jones, they got too many middle-aged guys who are, let's just say they don't have the thick locks that I have. So, I'm sure that's why I'm an antisocial monster. That's just karma evening things out. Before I get much further, again, I need to remind you, this is 90forChill, the podcast. Sorry that it's not a movie podcast this week, but I kind of Well, I'm kind of arguing with myself about how autobiographical these podcasts are really becoming. And the person that Cool Movies Darth is telling their autobiography is Russ Stevens. And if you need to access this podcast via an Amazon Echo or a Google Nest, it's best just to search or ask Play Podcast by Russ Stevens. Again, I'm still proud that I'm the first Russ Stevens with a podcast. So, when it comes to Sunday at C2E2, I can't really say that there was much excitement compared to the 2 previous days, and that's not really how it's designed. It's just that I gotta be the pack mule when it comes to getting the Poetic Critic and I out of our room on time, I suppose. We had separate rooms, but I still had to wake up so she could load her stuff into my room, and then I got to return from the con about after an hour of play by the time I'm all up and at 'em. And really what I regret is missing the panel for Our Flag Means Death. And granted, I didn't really know the performers myself. I've been meaning to get to that show on HBO Max just because I'm a big Rhys Darby's fan. And somehow I get confused with Rory Scofield. I don't know. Maybe it's having an older sister named Rory. I don't know. I mean, it confuses me with Gilmore Girls too. Rory and Lori. I don't know. I digress. So, but that was something I found out on Artist Alley, that, by God, there's really way too much stuff to watch. And I'm not an illustrator / author. And I did pick up a comic, basically the Gentleman. It's called Arsenic Lullaby from AL Publishing, so definitely self-published. But the guy just said, do you have a dark sense of humor? Do you like dark stories? So he handed me the book. He pulled it to a certain page where we get a story about the Foot Fairy visiting a child after an accident and envying the Tooth Fairy. So, little twisted, little humor. The gentleman was kind enough to do a sketch for me. Let me open the front page, because he doesn't have his name listed on the front. And, of course, you're not going to... All right, here we go. All written and illustrated by Douglas. I can see why he just goes by AL Publishing. Douglas Paskiewicz. That's Paskiewiczz. So, yeah, real fun, cute little comic, which have a very dark sense of humor. Not quite, I guess, quality, at least initially, of, say, your Daniel Klaus, but I think this gentleman is going right for the jugular, going right for the joke. And, as a fan of comedians, I definitely appreciate that. So, was there much more action on Artist Alley this time around, getting to just go there on my own? No, not really. I kind of feel bad for dodging the writer of the Roddy Piper Kilted Avengers booth. I mean, he had hockey sweaters for a lot of other wrestlers, because he's doing a lot of comic books based on our past wrestlers, trying to sell me on a British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith book signed by Harry / Davey Boy Smith Jr. So I appreciate that, but I definitely didn't have the money to buy another hockey jersey. And it's like Funko Pops. I only came home with one this year, a Mark Hamill with a Joker outfit on. So Mark Hamill's head, Joker's body, essentially. I wasn't going to pay $90 for the Star Wars one, where, I don't know, that looks like old Luke from The Last Jedi. Just wearing young Luke's black garb. So, and that was, I can't recall which booth it was, and now I'm just thinking, should I have bought those I mean, I've had all the Sailor Moon figures already. Should have bought that Super Sailor Moon. Maybe I have it. I don't think so. And then there was another variant on Sailor Chibi Moon, so I don't know. My older sister, the poetic critic, she's been hunting down pops for her favorite actors, so she's pretty much got Jeff Goldblum all taken care of. I don't know about Peter Capaldi. So, with that said, Funko, can we get a kilted Peter Capaldi from Ken Russell's The Lair of the White Worm? Which is something you can read a review for it on NinetyForChill.com. It's early Hugh Grant. It's the woman who played the Wicked lawyer, who was kind of forcing Jim Carrey to take care of her in Liar Liar. And as I say, Peter Capaldi, Scott's dealing with a sexy priestess who sacrifices Boy Scouts. Like, it's my kind of insane, like, life force. Except this one, not Ken Russell's best, probably. I think he definitely kind of slipped in points in that feature, but it's definitely a must-watch. I'll say that. Now I got, again, well, no. I think a 3.5-star review is probably fair for it on my letterbox. My letterbox is CM Darth. Just, you know, as I say, if I want to recommend something, I got to give it 2.5, I think, is what I try to do. Hence why, like, or if I'm begrudgingly accepting, well, it hit its mark like Twilight. But it's crazy. Listening to screen drafts on the way back from Morton, I spent the night after driving from Chicago. We stopped in Joliet so I could have Raising Cane's chicken strips. And you know what? They're definitely up there with Chick-fil-A in terms of flavor. So with that said, that's enough to tell you we need more Raising Cane's and go intercourse the Christian chicken. I don't dig that it's New Orleans themed. They were advertising Joey Chestnut getting ready to break the Raising Cane's chicken strip challenge, but I digress. As I've always said, I think fried chicken is an evil right-wing conspiracy. It's either from Kentucky. Thanks, Mitch McConnell. It's either from Louisiana. Thanks, McCarthy. Is it McCarthy? No, it's Kennedy who's the twat there. You know, and gosh, churches, so that's a little obvious. So, what I did get to do panel-wise on Sunday was I did get to check out the Rosario Dawson panel, which was awesome. She really loves doing these things. I mean, she's going to burn herself out. She's 43. Looks better than me, so I know. Difficult to not pull that off, but I mean, she still looks a lot younger than me, and I still get carded. I'd say, 1 out of 5 times now. So I'm catching up. Somebody at my job, as I'm taking care of their return, you got gray hairs there, kid? I'm 42, man. So, I guess I just should admire it because, and it was said by somebody at the Billy D panel, a black person, so I'm not appropriating too much, I hope. And I got another story about mom, like, oh, it's a big deal that Beyonce changed the word spaz, which, again, I'm not. I think we're being a little overly sensitive with spaz. Granted, I don't know anybody who has seizures, so, and I guess any kind of spaz I have is because I've got over 24 concussions, so it's not really my place to say, and I'm sorry to even say that. There's good podcasts, Getting Down and Wordy, that addresses that when Lizzo first changed her lyric, and bear with me a moment.
Superman!
Sorry about that little break. I had to unmute the Daily Show since we got to our moment of moment of zen with the faces on Mount Rushmore just laughing off and actually feeling offended that Ronnie Johnson, doctor to Donald J. Trump, said that he was the healthiest president ever. So, honestly, I kind of lost myself once. So, and we have Republican Senator Tim Scott on, and it's like, sorry, I've seen his tweets too much. I'm just not going to let you whitewash the evil party. And I guess we can return the mom. So, at Best Buy, a black gentleman said I looked pretty good for 42. He was 43, and he looked better than me. And at the Billy D panel, a black woman told Mr. Williams that you are evidence that black don't crack. So it's, I don't want to equate myself to obviously that. It just kind of feels a little good for the ego, which is basically what Tinder is up there. Oh, geesh, I need to get up to Chicago. I'm hot. I mean, might be a Champagne 5, but Chicago 7. But with all of that, my mom was complaining about, oh, you changed the word spaz, but black bitch. And it's like, well, Mom, you can't tell me how you can make spaz empowering. How can you make black bitch empowering? Well, Mother, it goes back to, it's just disgusting. So, good thing, well, I don't know. If I would have gotten the Poetic Critic, since I was down in Morton for the morning and half the afternoon, to get on the podcast, I could have avoided that, I suppose. But the Rosario Dawson panel is awesome just because she is in everything. She's DC Animated's Wonder Woman for the most part. She's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe now, since they're putting the Punisher in there. And I know she wasn't in the Punisher, and she knows she wasn't in the Punisher. She wants to be there, though, as that was the only Netflix series she wasn't a part of. And, of course, she's Ahsoka Tano, and she really wants to talk. That's what you gotta admire. And for the most part, it was pretty well handled. She did say that the producers of Ahsoka Tano, I believe it's David Fillion, and the rest of Lucasfilm said that the first episode they completed editing was a religious experience. So that's looking great. So again, more content. I don't need it, man. I gotta work a day job. So until I start getting paid for this podcast, and with that said, give me ideas, my handful of listeners. What would you do for a Patreon? What would you expect from a Patreon? Because I think it's something, this is something I think now with discovering the Podbean app, and provided that I don't hear too much garbage from them about recommendations, which, hey, they've slowed down after I called them out. I might be with them a year, so it's easy to just come up with stuff. And now, what's worth $5, I suppose, is what I'm asking. Otherwise, it's merchandising. With that said, my cats love the rough texture of the Spaceballs, the doormat that I purchased. So that's coming out a winner there. Honestly, so, after Rosario Dawson, I can't really say there was much else to the con. For the first time, I've picked up one of those blind prize boxes for about $50. I think this one came to about $62. Get on them for just giving me the tax right away. Unless they just knew, this mother lover is going to pay with a credit card. So, and it feels like I spent less. I don't know if that's necessarily true then compared to Fan Expo. Maybe just because it's one day fewer. But, again, Taz on AEW. I've got AEW Dark Elevation on in the background. Just really great at doing the I digress. Just like, okay, I said too much. I'm going to shut up. And he just keeps rolling. So I guess that's where I get my podcasting, or maybe even I think it all comes from, wrestling commentary. Yeah, in my early 40s, so Bobby Heenan was more of a commentator to me than he was a manager, I suppose. I mean, he pretty much quit managing by the time I was 10, so, I mean, I remember all his work, and you know what? I really need to start carrying a cane around now that I'm talking about professional wrestling managers. Just, you need a prop like that. Oh, so that professional wrestling, I am officially Russhausen. Thank you, Danhausen, for giving me the chance to get your autograph and a photo or 5. Thank you, Pro Wrestling Tees, for that. The only thing is, he didn't speak with the accent, so was he a cosplayer? I'm just glad to find out he's taller than me, because it's like, you know, with the success of John Silver, Marco Stunt, Jonathan Gresham, being a legit badass, and that's how you add empowerment to a curse word mother, you kind of get jealous of these guys. Jonathan Gresham, I don't know if I can handle, but you know, I prevented myself from going over to Punk and like asking silly questions to get him. Again, I still have that issue that I sat by Punk watching wrestling, watching AAW in Chicago when he was when he ran off with the WWE Championship. So it's kind of like, it's just tough to ask somebody like that for an autograph. I'm now regretting not getting a picture with Lance Archer when I got that autograph signed. But I guess I was intimidated by the fact that the team wanted to sell a picture of me holding the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship, something that I have no business holding, I guess. You know, I'll stick to my classic FTW title. It's got the Winged Eagle back like when ECW was just really knockoff belts, but oh, fun times. So yeah, Danhausen was really cool, and you know, got some cool stickers. Finally got myself a portfolio for all the 8 by 11.5 art that I keep purchasing because I'm too cheap to go get the 17, the big stuff. Which good. Now that I got this portfolio to put those in, I'll have more space to do that. So I'm looking through, and it's like, yeah, I could move a few of them, but you know, have fun and gives me something to put stickers on. I got way too many stickers, but they're cheap, and you want to help out these people who are doing what they love. And again, if it's not Patreon, I gotta go and make myself a booth. So just gotta be more on guard. And hey, you know, talk Gregory Carl or talk get Michael Dubois out of Northern Michigan. I do need to talk to him just because, you know, that stupid Kid Rock song, you know, singing Sweet Home Alabama all night long, and talked about Northern Michigan. It's like, oh gosh, he is the absolute bloody worst. With that said, I haven't watched WWE yet because I'm still pissed off about Kane getting to announce the attendance after a women's championship match, which was a smozzy match. I didn't like that. And then, we get somebody who wants to take away women's rights announcing the attendance. So yeah, still insulted. If I didn't have to, I'd love to go and watch some G1 Climax since it's a Monday, but I gotta get to work at 7:30 tomorrow, so in the next few days. So with this gonna be dropped at midnight-ish, so just an hour, I'm gonna have to wrap things up. But as I say, that is a good thing about Sunday just being the wind down show. And thank you very much, Rosario Dawson, for blessing us with your presence. Way too many rent questions. Can we? I'm sorry. Like when somebody said, "Oh, I loved you in ever since Men in Black 2, bad movie, but you made it worth watching." It's like, well, that's quite the compliment. And I would, well, no, actually I was probably more enthused by Idina Menzel's performance in Rent, but Rent's just such an awful musical. And I mean, so awful, like the main song from it, Seasons of Love. No, you got the title everybody's going to think of. Like, that's, like, just trying to be too clever. Like, I'm trying to think of a rock song that just sneaks the title in when it's like, no, just go with the catch, you know? I'm sure Nine Inch Nails probably has plenty of those songs. But, like, no, everybody remembers 526,600 minutes. So, you know, they could have made a pop song out of that, and who knows, maybe they did. I don't listen to the radio. 2006, though, I think I would have known, because I'm still wrestling, so... Yeah, I mean, that's where I got most of my musical taste, I suppose. So that's, so the Poetic Critic didn't want to do her recap, and, you know, actually, she was really there just for her boyfriend, David, and I tried to be cool with them, really trying to push. I know he's a Supernatural fan, the new season of The Boys, and he's just, I can't follow you. Like, oh, I mean, and we'll just leave it at that. He's a very reserved person. I could kind of see it even beyond, like, their similar traits, let's just say. I am waiting for my older sister to go full Cartman from the Gingivitis episode with people who, I'd say every 1 in 3 of them on the autistic spectrum who are high functioning, they're smarter than us. So again, get the Poetic Critic a podcast. We need to distract her. So that's day 3 of that. As I say, I did buy a look-see box, so I have aspirations of my own video game themed wrestling promotion at some point. So I've been dying to get these question mark cube boxes, so, like, dare I say, we can have on a pull matches right. So let me open this up and see what I got. It's supposed to be all Nintendo themed, very well constructed. All right, and I've got a from Nerd Block, their Canadian monthly box, a arcade block, which is a springing chicken from Legend of Zelda. Alright. Just seeing that my screen's frozen up, so who knows where it stopped. Ooh, an 8-bit treasure chest with a foam treasure chest. Alright, cool. So I'm doing this not knowing how much is getting recorded. And yeah, I know we all love unboxing. So I got a Game Boy Bank. That is cool. Got a Super Mario World 2 holographic, one of those type holograms. So that is cool. And we got myself a tumbler. Well, no, just a cup, but it's, again, Game Boy Yellow before the color. But plush Mega Man, like, with really coked up eyes. Now that is cool. He's got his Mega Blaster on his left hand. So that's something I might have to add. So biggest embarrassment was I did not had a fanny pack ordered for from Amazon for C2E2. It was a I think it was Loungefly, or I can't recall, but it's a Nintendo controller instead of duct taping a actual Nintendo controller to my belt. Because I just going through all my all the art I've bought, have a couple of cells from Captain and the Gamemaster, and he's drawn with his belt over his t-shirt, so it's like ridiculous. So that's what I was trying to capture. Alright, coin box Civic wallet. Oh, okay. What is this? And Skimbo's just getting excited. There's a box. Oh, so it's a nice, simple card wallet. Basically set up like the question mark boxes from Super Mario Brothers, the original. So that's kind of what I was always trying to grab. They had a version of that, like they used to be just the same, that kind of design, but I think maybe Nintendo was cracking down on them. The brand of box is called a look-see box. So hopefully, with the aspirations of being a wrestling promoter, that at some point I will just be able to buy the boxes without all the stuff in them. But hey, as I say, Mega Man's cool, the wallet is cool, the cup is cool. Yeah, and the question box, the treasure box is cool. Whoa, this is a high-end multi-tool keyring. It's got the Triforce. It's supposed to have 2 screwdrivers. Yeah, I can see how they're supposed to work, and a bottle opener. That's actually pretty sweet. So yeah, the art on the bottle opener I have is worn out, so that sounds pretty cool. And I got myself some artwork, framed Legend of Zelda, just a nice little canvas print with kind of looks Matrixy, but it's just all greens and whites and blacks. So I have a YouTube channel that's Cool Movies Darth. I know I can post whatever I like on it now, since I got it approved just so I could put cuter pictures of my cats on it. But okay, and we got a Splatoon air freshener. All right, lemon scent, and Super Power Star Memento Paperweight exclusive. Oh, is this a blind bot? Looks like it's primarily European. I'm gonna have to open her up. So I know, great podcast content. So we're at the 32 as I'm getting this all taken off, I suppose. Let's just go and wrap things up. So here's all the formal stuff before we go back to day 2, because I figure that's the one that took me the longest to produce, so it's probably the least listened to. At least the numbers indicate that today. If you want to be on 90for Chill the podcast, I don't have any cons or festivals until February when B-Fest is back. So, and I think C2E2's March as well. I think everything's course corrected to the traditional months. I don't know. Can't count on Fan Expo. That's an attitude that's perforated this podcast. So, and I really should look into, like, C2E2 happened during Gen Con weekend this year, so with that, it's kind of interesting what vendors decided, I want to go to a town with half the people of Chicago and less than half the people of Chicago, and not all the prestige of a Reed Pop Con. And yeah, I'm bitter about Reed Pop scamming me and giving them my Facebook info, but not over. But otherwise, I can't say they did a bad job. Really got to work on the nightlight stuff, I suppose. But they're doing their best, I suppose. At least they're not trying to find ways to charge you wherever they can. So definitely dug C2. Definitely dug Wizard World running the original Chicago Comic Con better than Fan Expo. So, okay, lots of layers to this paperweight. All right, and it's just an invincibility star. And yeah, that should hold papers down. So, yeah, this box ended up being pretty cool. So, the idea is I'll put, blue turtle shells, what have you. Let you cut in line, like a Money in the Bank briefcase. That kind of stuff. So, as I say, we'll do pole matches right. Or I might just hide bricks under the ring. You get a chair on this side, or you can get a mystery brick. So, All right, but we're going to get back to movies until February. So, with all that said, if you want to be on the podcast, just send an email to russthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. Offer me a movie. We can start with that. It doesn't have to qualify necessarily for 90 for Chill, the podcast. 90 for Chill, the podcast qualifications start at 73 to 99 minutes, but there's always a workaround. Say, like, John Wick qualifies because the film narrative concludes before the credits roll. There's no post-credit sequence, so it's obviously shorter than 100 minutes. Or, like, you offer me The Empire Strikes Back, like Jessica Quaz did, of Second Chance movie, and I'll say, well, how about Spaceballs? So, and if once a franchise is established after the first movie qualifying, I'm going to just say, yeah, we'll talk about the entire franchise. Because hey, you were able to get a sequel. You get to expand the world as much as you like. I'm cool with that. Which makes me a pussy, though, for not just saying, a movie people disagree on. I loved The Matrix Resurrections. Alright? I think it did fan service right. If you didn't like the franchise, you're not necessarily going to like that. But it's a nice way to at least try to course correct, saying, hey, we kind of knew what you didn't like, so we're going to do all that without all this. And it's just a retread. But, come on, who doesn't want to see Neil Patrick Harris as the bad guy with a kitty cat called Deja Vu? So, but traditional rules, 90 for Chill, the podcast. Offer me a movie, a theme, a director, an actor. Just focus on material under 100 minutes from their perspective filmographies, and we got podcast fried slices of gold. So there we are. If you want to talk trash about the podcast, you can do that at my Twitter account at CatBustRuss. If you don't want to trash the show, on your favorite podcast app, give me those 5-star reviews and subscriptions. I am more than happy to reciprocate. It's all about fixing the algorithm for the little person. So thank you again for coming to 90 for Chill, the podcast. Thank you, Stacia Harden. I did get to visit your grave today, and I was in a good mood for the most part. Life is fleeting. I'm not going to say that, but Stacia Harden is forever, and she's always helping us out, protecting those she loved. And I just wanted her to know that as we come up on 18 years without her, she's still very much appreciated. I'm still trying to do you proud. So thank you again for coming to 90 for Chill, the podcast. We're going to pick up where we left off with Gregory Carl and They Live. And then we are going to... we're going to have to start getting back onto people being on the show. So again, RussTheBus07@gmail.com. If you want to be on the show, I will work something out with you. So I am your 15 seconds of fame. Thanks for coming. Have a good night.
Can I hear a wahoo?
The following podcast is protected under the laws of the United States. Any attempt to duplicate, redistribute, may be met with criminal prosecution, civil judgments, and the wrath of the tall man. And of course, this is 90 for Chill, the podcast. This is your host, Cool Movies Darth. So at least I've got those things addressed, which is kind of cool because I've had about, at least 3 drinks from the Hard Rock Cafe and a shot of tequila. Well, I should say 2 drinks and a shot of tequila from the Hard Rock Cafe. Very excellent service tonight, if I do say myself. Some cool taxi drivers, or at least, the first guy got us there pretty fast, but I had to explain atheism to him. And the second guy, was cursing under his breath, cut through a BP parking lot and then pull a Yui on Clark Street. I did not record whose company they're driving for, nor did I dial 311, but it's fun just having a guy who's concentrating on his job, cursing under his breath, and listening to George Michaels. I tried to get the Poetic Critic to get my nudges to do a sing-along to Careless Whispers, but probably a little too much confusion. May have embarrassed the driver, and I'm sorry if I did that. So, day 2 of C2E2. Well, first let me apologize to the Marriott Marquis on Prairie near McCormick Place. They did have a refrigerator, and their shower is very nice, but I ended up having to go to the Hilton property, which is a combination Hampton Inn, Home 2, and Garden Inn, to get snacks. Like, it's one thing for the hotels to be pushing those prices, but for the market across the street to be doing that, that's a load of bollocks. Like, no soda is worth $3 if you call yourself a convenience store or a grocery store. I digress. Had Harold's Chicken, which is kind of weird that it's very much just low rent on Michigan Avenue. I mean, we're still, McCormick Place. You got 3 pretty nice looking properties surrounding it. It's kind of, weird to, be ordering my fried chicken behind glass, expecting it and getting it turned to me, and it's either Pepsi or Faygo to drink. I mean, interesting experience. The fried chicken was great. They don't know how to apply hot sauce, I'll say that much. I got that more on my fries. And look, just give up on placing coleslaw in everything. Who in their mother-loving minds wants coleslaw? Just, not asked, not provoked. I can see, would you like coleslaw? Yes. It's not working for me, but I can see it. So, little things that get under your nerves, I suppose. But, the con went pretty well, I think, today. I was pretty much stuck on the main stage, so I did not get there until about noon. So I slept in. I can't recall what the first panel was, so it wasn't a big deal to me. Sorry, kids. I was basically just waiting for the Billy D. Williams panel, and that was until 1 o'clock. So, yeah, honestly, it was perfect timing. By the time I got there, there's a queue starting up. Well, I'm still in line 1. And it's a panel, so you're not going to get that Kevin Smith Fan Expo experience that I had. So, lots of fun there. Billy D. Williams is just a very humble guy. I mean, when you're 85 years old and you can still laugh at yourself. I mean, some of the questions, and granted, the host said, I've been pretty much his escort for the last 25 years. I know all the answers. You better have some good ones if you want prizes. And, most of the good ones were just out there questions. So it tells you something about how often Billy D does these. But as I say, he's just a very humble guy. It's great to hear his history. Great for him to play Lando again and cheat at Sabacc with a little 10-year-old, I think he may have been. And he definitely wasn't a teenager. So sorry if I knocked off a couple years from your age, Jacob. And you can see all my photos on Instagram. I'll probably end up putting them on Twitter at some point, but the Instagram is back to the days of me pushing my zombie professional wrestling screenplay, Main Event of the Dead, which you can still help me out with. I'm just looking to, it's just a tough story, really, because I wrote it like this is going to be the thing that brings all my friends together. Basically Peoria wrestling, and it's like, oh no, that's effort, and you're expecting us to put that out. No, we'll wait for some hack like Joey Grunge or Ian Rotten. I mean, Ian's going to run wherever he's going to run, but the fact of the matter is he's going to run on his whatever money he can pull off, so I'll give him credit for that. But yeah, like, Peoria wrestling sucks, and I'll stand by that. But it's so yeah, basically I wrote that script kind of with those guys in mind, and it's like, oh, that's cool. And nobody's like giving me any kind of feedback on how to get that out of, get it to a Kickstarter stage. I'm not going to be ashamed of shooting it in HD, which is what I got my cameras for back when, like, I have everything to do it except a building and a ring. Well, of course, actors and, but it's like, come on, it's a bonding thing. This would do more for Peoria wrestling than whatever Ian, Alex, Larson, Norman, Conman, Calloway could do for it. So, if you're from Peoria and you're listening to the podcast, help me out, please. All right, so I digress about all that. So as I said, though, Billy D, just, it's just a guy who's 85 years old, and I don't know if he ever expected himself to be, like, so associated with sci-fi, and I can't think of another science fiction property he's done. He's just so iconic, though. And I'm not going to say thank George Lucas for that. He was an established star by the time. Like, I think he would just say, after Alec Guinness, and okay, yeah, Mom will tell me, and Peter Cushing, Lando was the first star in Star Wars. So, gosh, I hope his agent got him some percentage points on Empire. Then the next panel was the two Inquisitors. Oh, gosh, I'm just feeling like a heel now. And I haven't even taken the edible yet. With that said, let's pardon the bag wiggling around. Let me get that taken care of. It's about just after 11. I could be watching a Saturday Night Live rerun, but you folks are far more important. So, the panel was Rupert Friend, who played the Grand Inquisitor. I want to say Moses Ingram, who played Third Sister / Reva. Checking it out right now. Hopefully it's still... yeah, I was right. Moses Ingram. And gods know I'm not going to get the little kid's name, but little kid was a surprise drop, I'd say 2/3 through it. And very professional, very well composed, almost scary, if you ask me. Like, but, I think she's got a good head on her shoulders if she's just, it's funny because I'm watching this and there's a woman dressed as Starlight from The Boys, which is really the only boys stuff I've seen. What is wrong with you people? Oh yeah, you're asking, how's Moses and Rupert going to get into the freaking Marvel Universe? Bloody hell. Shag the Marvel Cinematic Universe, people. Wish it was under Discovery so they wouldn't make any more. Just give us a break, all right? I mean, let's just look at it this way. I was a kid, granted, but I couldn't get droids or Ewoks or the Ewok TV movies, which qualify for 90-for-Chill, the podcast. If anybody wants to chat, they are on Disney+. Over the finish line to, kind of push the hand of George Lucas to make his next 3 movies 10 years prior. And even then, though, we still have like 6 years off. Screw this MCU stuff. Like, come on. But no, fun panel. It's fun to hear about Rupert Friend, having to deal with Jason Isaacs, giving him a little heat over his live action adaptation of his Rebels animated character. So, I'd say a lot of fun. The only downside was a frickin' cheesehead. I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin. He got the appropriate response. And my favorite, if I could be a Star Wars character, I would be Jean-Luc Picard. Oh, come on. I had my Captain N cosplay on today. I should have pistol whipped a guy. gosh, that's what would have happened if I ended up winning the Mega Millions. And I thank a coworker for even feeding in on that campaign. Oh yeah, I'm gonna leave this job with some battery. Oh yep, that's my severance package, and here's a bonus. Boom! Like, gosh, I gotta get my buddy Tim on the show. With that being said, so. Gosh, I hope he doesn't have much more time on his hands. I think he's at Gen Con, which is kind of weird that, Indianapolis, yay! Come on, it's freaking Indianapolis. Like, Chicago is the same length from there as it is from Champaign, Peoria, Moline. Come on. If you're going to keep puritanical people in your government, you don't deserve cons. So, Shag, Ohio, Shag, Pennsylvania. I'm just going to be upfront about it. I mean, Wisconsin, you're kind of cool. And Iowa, no. Okay, so there's your politics. To get some approval on my Twitter feed about my Captain in cosplay, at least. In a tweet basically saying, look, do your cosplay as best as you can. Meaning I don't excuse people who don't wear the right amount of layers. And I will say this, the cosplay looked a lot better on Saturday than it did on Friday. So, man, that's a lot of bum, but hey, you're presenting it correctly. So, but, I complain and it's like, well, there's not a lot of Chun-Li's and there's not a lot of Camis. So, come on, people, get pumped for Street Fighter 6, I guess is my response to that. So, and the third panel was Michael Rooker, who I got some video again on my Instagram, and if I didn't mention it, it's at Main Event Zombie, at MainEventZombie. Again, tied to Main Event of the Dead, maineventofthedead.com. And I do at least have the 20-minute clip of the moderator trying to show Michael Rooker how you fence. And granted, it was a 20-second clip. If I would have waited another 30 seconds, we could have seen Michael Rooker show how to defend yourself against the man with the banana for my Monty Python fans out there. Life of Brian qualifies for 90-for-Chill, the podcast. So does Holy Grail. I don't know about Secret of Life, the meaning of life, I should say. And now for something completely different. So, but again, we got a lot of stuff we can chat about. And if you do, just send an email to rusthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. And as I said, you just offer me a movie and I'll figure something out. Preferably, though, come up with a movie, a theme, a director, an actor. Keep the material under 100 minutes. And let's just say material as a narrative, as long as it ends before the credits roll. I will count it as long as it ends before 100 minutes before the credit rolls. If the credits roll and then it pushes over 100 and then there's an end credit sequence, oh, bollocks to that movie. But again, I'll figure out how to chat with you. So Michael Rooker, very cool, very reserved. I think he really was self-conscious of that he's trying to develop an Irish accent for his next role, and I think he's doing pretty well with it. So we had fun little linguistics lessons, I suppose, about how you have British actors who, they do the American accent usually better than fudge a lot of Americans. But if they fail at the accent, it's because they can't pick the right American dialect. Like, you'll have somebody talking like they're from New York, and then, don't you know? And there you go. So, and Michael Rooker has to deal with the same thing. I can't. And gosh, it's almost like I wish we had the kind of accents they had over in England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Just so I think we'd be a lot less judgmental, until we get a foreigner who's going to speak an accent that indicates he learned the language secondhand or his second language. But I don't know if that's human nature. Like, it's kind of like, I mean, white people are just stupid when you stop and look at it. We all started as Africans. And then, like, you know, the ideal setting, that's the closest thing I would say to the Garden of Eden. And then, like, we went to deserts, and then we went to Europe, then we went to Scandinavia. Like, whoa. Is conquest that important? Getting a place for your own? Like, I think they had it right to begin with, which, again, makes our genocide so much more embarrassing. Like, it reminds me, I gotta watch Prey when I get home. That's been the talk of the con and Twitter, but again, digression. So Michael Rooker, for the most part, kept his answers short and, you know, disappointing people that way. But he's a show, which is why I was kind of worried. Like, are we going to get Michael Rooker, the crazy guy who just runs around with his microphone talking to people and screw the moderator? No, he's a little more professional until the end, where it's like, all right, I just want to get as many questions out of the way. Yes, no. He's very one answer, very concise. How can you not love the man? And, you know, the DJ, you know, warming us up. And, like, again, that Green Bay guy. And then, like, at one point he's playing Bang on the Drum. No, not after that Green Bay guy. I don't care if you're remixing it. No. This is Chicago. It's all about the Bears. But, you know, got a little love for my note, you know, saying, like, no. Because we had another guy trying to pump the crowd up by talking about, you know, come on, let's sing along to Shout. And it's like, nah. The Bills haven't scored. I'm not getting up. So Rooker was great. I guess one of the questions, though, that DJ asked, like, you know, turn to the people next to you and give them the best Michael Rooker and, you know, tell them why it's Mallrats. And he said that after, like, he gave us a moment to ask people. And I did say Mallrats. And then I did tell that person, like, you know, it's great because that's the only movie that he's the big bad in. And then, you know, stopped and thought. And that means I haven't seen Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, which I do think qualifies for 90 for Chill. So Gregory Carl, I'm sure that's on Shudder at some point. So yeah, then it's kind of slowed down real fast after those panels, because after the Rooker panel, they were clean out to set up for the cosplay panel, and like, you know, I got enough problems when I'm walking the con. Don't get me judging on people who really are dedicated to it. So, yeah, I just went around Artist Alley, attached with my older sister in tow, the poetic critic. And, you know, I'll just leave it at that. There's an anxiety about it, like, not about my older sister, just kind of like feeling kind of like I'm expected of something and nobody's giving me feedback. So I'm not going to be as spoiled today. I got to wake up when my older sister wants to go to the con so she can load her stuff into my room, so then I can turn around and take it to my car accordingly for the late checkout and all that. And I mean, I love her and she doesn't mean any harm. But, you know, She is it's just, you know, I guess it's kind of like you do you so well. And that's the truth about my older sister. So, you know, teammate, it takes a little work. Like, if you want a great podcast from us, I think it's when I get her in a mellowed out space just talking to her. She probably will say when I give her a goal for the podcast, like our Jim Carrey episode. So, and I think those are more her episodes. She's got so many friends out there on the internet. Do a podcast with her, you know? I mean, she's definitely got the knowledge that I think if you got more charisma than me, and I know that's a challenge. The podcast, Getting Down and Wordy, said it is. I mean, charisma? I don't know. My older sister I admire because she does herself very well. She does her. She knows who she is. And, people... She's confident enough that people have to deal with her. And I think we should all be that. But too bad we're in a world of teams, unfortunately. So, yeah. Hopefully she'll have her... She's updated her earbuds. So hopefully I can just listen to this podcast. Since, I don't know, really... Sounds great coming off the iPhone, these recordings on Podbean. But, gotta put them to genuine speakers. So... ended it with another Nerd Knows panel, and I think it is their last. They won't be here tomorrow, but this was their second WTF Japan, which is just showing us the wackiest stuff. They took pride and they expected you to say, "I'm out," when you got up to leave during the panel. I don't think it was really anything too crazy, or at least I could appreciate the craziness. Like, the movie called Butt, a short film about a woman who ends up with a spurned admirer's face on her ass, and it becomes homicidal. So it's a short, silent film. I think it works well. I don't think it's too crazy. They showed a bunch of the films from the ABC of Death Anthology series, and they didn't show the craziest stuff. So, what the fudge? Nerd knows. Again, I'm constantly questioning their knowledge, which I'll give the cab driver. So, I think I brought it up. Older sister and I went to the Hard Rock Cafe, and the first cab driver was just talking, wanted to talk, and then he eventually asked me, "Do you believe in God?" And I'm going to say no, and it's like, I don't want to go into how I discovered he doesn't exist, or he's not important primarily. So I don't care if there's a God. And my older sister is just doing her earbud thing. So it's kind of like, you just can't put them in. You want to tell her, like, when people are expecting stuff. And that's what happens in cars. You got to give us the heads up at least. So, the second driver was cool. He was cutting again through BP parking lots, doing U-turns on Clark. Got us there, same rate. Listening to Careless Whispers. Again, I'm sorry if I embarrassed him. If I wanted to try getting my older sister to sing along. Very weird, because I still mask up when I'm with people in enclosed spaces. So does my older sister. And, you just can't read lips. My cosplay was good enough that somebody asked to take a picture with me, which was cool. And, she was talking about how she did her son up the previous year. So it was her, let's say 11-year-old, 12-year-old kid. And, he was the guy who pointed me out. "Mom, I found Captain N," which is awesome that somebody's watching Captain N. I might have to suck it up and actually buy the bootleg DVDs. And what the hell happened to Muppet Baby bootlegs? Come on. We're talking 80s, not this Disney Plus bollocks. So, the mom was telling, last year I did my son up like Koopa from Super Mario Brothers, the movie. And, nobody recognized him. I'm thinking, how the hell not? I probably didn't see him because he's a freaking kid, and, hey, if you're shorter than me, I gotta ignore some people. So, yeah. But then again, his mom said, and this year he's Kid Icarus. And it's like, and me and him did a photo, picture together. But it's like, you're talking to the Captain N guy. And yeah, I know I want the 3DS Kid Icarus game. Looks like a lot of fun. I've seen all the spoilers on Outside Xbox, cool English channel on YouTube. But yeah, no, I wouldn't necessarily think that. Like, bow and wings, I suppose. But I guess that was the point. Kid Icarus becomes a man. I mean, then gets the wings, kind of. Yeah, it's kind of arbitrary, the wings in the original game. As a Captain N guy, I know the Eggplant Wizard more than Kid Icarus. Alright, so... Yeah, and, dinner was good at the Hard Rock Cafe. They really need to offer a little more sauce option where they're Tupelo chicken tenders. Like, I get it. Barbecue and honey mustard. Who doesn't like either of those? And barbecue's fine, but when your breading's too sweet to begin with, I kind of need my hot sauce. So I told my older sister we're stopping by Raising Cane's in Joliet hence why we went there to Hard Rock instead of, appealing to my Cubsdom and going to Harry Carey's. Like, I had said, hey, it's whatever you feel best with. So, at least it wasn't Sugar. And Sugar's got some good food. It's got some... If they got a good chef, it's going to have good food. Their biggest problem is the prices are way too bloody high, and it's still the hot Kardashian influencer thing. And it's like, no, I don't... So it's super busy. I don't need that bloody noise. So yeah. So that's how C2E2 Day 2 went. And as I say, I can't really complain about anything, or the stuff I can really complain about is stuff I shouldn't really say on the podcast, I suppose. At least if I want to listen to it on the road. So, thanks for coming back to the show for this episode. If this is the second episode you've listened to, because I have, been promoting the first episode today on a C2E2 episode, I should say, on Twitter, and the Twitter handle is @CatBuzzForUs. And if you want to talk crap about the show, I prefer you do it there. And again, want to be on the show, russthebus07@gmail.com, RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. You can follow what I'm watching on Letterboxd, and with the con season ending, I imagine we'll be opening that wide up. I just got to finish The Boys Season 3. I'm halfway through that. So again, come on, are we just not giving Amazon love? Everybody's got Disney Plus. Has the MCU ruined conventions? I don't know. Once the Crunchyroll is totally off of the HBO platform, maybe I won't have to do, I won't be able to really relate to anything. As for conventions, I don't know if I'm a 3-day person. It's not the money, because that would just inspire me to spend the money faster if it was a 1-day thing. It's just, I'm not a social person. And, I did my best today, giving out just snide remarks whenever I could. Like a kid bitching about taking pictures, and I said to who I thought was the mom, hey, a kid these days who doesn't like taking pictures, that's a win. It was a close relative, so hence, we gotta go and appease the families. So, maybe I do need to start a family just so I have something to talk about. No, not gonna happen, but... And maybe that's what inspired that one cabbie to ask about my religion. So yeah. I will do my best to record tomorrow, probably on the Z1N1. I don't know. I got all the heavy gear. If it wasn't valet parking and okay, I better get all my crap out of the car fast so this guy can take it. Yeah, I would have probably tried setting up a podcast room, and I don't know. Maybe I really just got to go and get a booth. Maybe it's time for the Patreon. Send me ideas on what you expect back for $5 a month. That's fair. All right, so, but you know what? I'm doing all right, feeling okay. When it comes to the Marriott, you have to be able to provide snacks at all time, not this room service bollocks. Like, even the iHotel, we took the non-perishable snacks and put them behind the front counter, the front desk. So basketball players from the U of I could try breaking old NCAA rules. It's only a cookie. Why is that an NCAA violation? Because everyone in power in this country is a fascist, or if they are not a Democrat in Congress, yeah, I could say that. Sorry, Joe. We knew what you were. Still better than Donald Trump. So, here's to the blue wave, though. Maybe we can finally annihilate these. But who knows? I think back to Gangs of New York after the melee with William Butcher dying. Did that get rid of the natives, or at least the native idea? I mean, gods know they'd be canceled now, but I digress. So, thanks to Stacia Harden for protecting me, though, with all this wild and crazy stuff. Some people don't dig waiting for cabs and will inflate time. But, what was I going to tell my big sister? You know what? It can't be more than 2-3 miles. We can make it. I don't have anything worth stealing on me. I don't think she'd want to do that as Belle cosplay, though. So, I went and changed. But that is it, then. I will, so the plan will probably be to just release the third part on Tuesday. And then I will, just make it add these first 2 volumes to the back of that. So, I'm not going to make you suffer if you've already listened to episode 1 and episode 2 of C2E2, 90for Chill, the podcast. Thanks again, though, for listening. Spread the word, and I hope that you'll be back. The following podcast is protected under the laws of the United States. Any attempt to duplicate, redistribute, may be met with civil persecution, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man. And this is 90for Chill, the podcast at C2E2 Night 1. So, the Poetic Critic is probably still celebrating or partying down at the karaoke since she wasn't at the Channel Awesome Movies We All Disagree On panel. So that's 2 years she's missed. We skipped last year's to go and see the Mystery Science Theater 3000 live. And what was that movie? Well, it's kind of difficult since I'm using the Podbean app to make this recording, and it's going to be a one-take thing, I hope. So, yeah, it was a not Paul Verhoeven, oh, sorry to curse that man's name, or dare refute it. It was a Roland Emmerich movie, which just was made in Germany, English language, but oh gosh, it was like avoiding all the copyright laws being shot in West Germany. It's a real piece of garbage, and I would imagine that if you watch it, you just realize that Roland Emmerich, director of Independence Day, is nothing more than a hack. So it's kind of nuts saying that his best movie is probably Universal Soldier with Jean-Claude Van Damme. With that said, this podcast could use a lot more Jean-Claude Van Damme. But I digress. I can always refer to Gregory Carl for that one. And I have a co-worker, or at least I think there's still a co-worker, who's had quite the influence on the show, actually. Very much helped make Kodiak Thompson the nerd that he is. So hopefully if anything, this just recording a podcast on my iPhone in the Marriott Marquis, which is a fine hotel. I like that the TV allows streaming, but then again, I would kill for a refrigerator. What are you expecting to do? I'm supposed to pay $6 for a bottle of water, and right now we're coming up on the 3-minute mark, and I should go and say that, or just make sure we all know that this is 90forChill, the podcast. I don't know right now if I'm going to save them all up and release them one at a time, or, yeah, I'm sorry, all confused. It's been a long day. I was finished a 9-day work week before going into C2E2. I had to drive after doing a 10-hour shift at Best Buy, and had to drive to Morton, Illinois to pick up the Poetic Critic. That's the Poetic Critic on Letterboxd. To drive up here, we left around just after 7 a.m. We probably both went to bed. I know I fell asleep before 2. The edible, you gotta be careful. Like, I bought edibles that were Pride Month themed, and yeah, sativa, man. Very much an indica guy, and I could probably use some melatonin. So, but again, I digress. I still got to figure out what I'm going to do for food. I got a bottle of water. That kind of drive kind of left me with no time, or my schedule kind of left me with no time to actually pick up stuff in advance. You know, it's kind of nuts. We really do need to get at least a supermarket per 20,000 people, i.e. Walmart in Morton, stay open 24/7. To accommodate people who have to run late. Sheesh. And, people who just don't like dealing with people. It's all automated tellers anyhow. Not tellers. Tellers? Oh, nah. Automated checkouts anyhow. So, again, I digress. So, I'm definitely a little worn out, and I got 19 minutes before AEW Rampage starts. So that's something I would say. They don't really seem to encourage a lot of nightlife in downtown Chicago, at least at this convention or the Wintrust Arena. Like, it's almost like, gosh, convention centers just suck in a sense, because I used to work at the I Hotel in Champaign, which is right next to the State Farm Center. This McCormick Place is right next to Wintrust Arena, and I was kind of curious, are the Chicago Sky playing today? Because it's nice. You could actually, how they designed that Wintrust Arena, it would have been awesome to see it from the outside back for Revolution in 2019. No, sorry, 2020. It's very confusing because, as nerds know, a group that was big on anime today, so I don't know how much they know, with their panels, brought up the fact that C2E2 has not missed a year, because the last C2E2, the 2020 C2E2, just took place 2 weeks before Illinois shut down. And then, of course, we had C2E2 last December. And I guess everything's course correcting now. So, but as for the con, my experience, ReadPop, their app absolutely sucked. It ended up being a big con for them to get my Facebook information. So, shag, frickin', good thing I'm sober.
shag Mark Zuckerberg even further. I mean, you could put shag on a movie poster in the United States. I don't think I'm being too offensive. And Lord knows, I don't know how much editing I'm going to be able to do with this. And gosh, I hope it's my phone is at least charging. I hope. Oh, I'll get the 10% notice at any time then. So, yeah, it's so I'm spending the first 90 minutes of this con. Waiting for the first panel to happen that I saw, which was Channel Awesome, just doing a panel to promote themselves, which was a lot of fun. A lot of silly questions, in all honesty. A lot of people who pay a lot of attention to the channel. For me, it's kind of like, I'm going to hit their booth tomorrow in Artist Alley. So it's like, drop the card, try to get them on the podcast, or gods know I could use the promotion. If I got to buy another autographed Nostalgia Critic picture, I suppose I can. If it's different, change your face, your headshots. But yeah, so that's a fun little panel. The next panel I went to was by the Nerds Know, and it was a anime panel, basically subs versus dubs, and we didn't really even address the debate. It was more of a history lesson, and it was a lot of fun. It's just more for me, it's like, you call yourselves Nerds Know, and you got your dates wrong on Transformers the movie, 1986, and how the death of Optimus Prime. There's a review for Transformers on 90forchill, the website, 90forchill.com, and maineventedthedead.com. Again, digression. So, spoiler alerts for Transformers. What is it? Transformers, the movie, which is officially a Marvel property. I think Disney is happy. Shout Factory has that. Maybe even Paramount. Like, your main character is Hot Rod. Okay, this is right around the time They Live was going to go out. So, Judd Nelson, great pick. No offense, but it's like, no, the only answer is Roddy Piper. And I don't know why I gave, what kind of freaking accent that is. Definitely not Chicago. But, trying to combine Canadian with, Chicago. Again, I'm not an actor, so I don't know if I can offer Channel Awesome anything. But, so, yeah. They got their years wrong on Transformers and the Transformers the movie and G.I. Joe the movie. The big thing is Optimus Prime gets killed in the Transformers movie to pass on the Enertron. Basically, the idea is passing the torch. There we go. Nice phrase. And the Transformers, I guess I'm recommending it. I should go back to my letterbox if I haven't already put it down. The letterbox is CM Darth and mark it up 2.5. But it's Orson Welles' last movie, I believe. Leonard Nimoy is your primary antagonist because they killed Megatron too. He's reborn, but so he got it better than Optimus Prime. They killed everybody, and yeah, that was entirely done just to sell the new toy line. So, and that's what they plan to do with G.I. Joe, the movie. So they killed Duke, but what they were talking about, censorship in being a main cause for the worst dubbing, is how they just dropped lines of dialogue where nobody off screen about how, oh no, Duke's just in a coma despite he's got a snake spear driven through his heart. And I don't think he would have had that much dialogue. I would have really loved him to at least have a Ruby Rose John Wick 2 moment. John Wick qualifies for 90forChill the podcast. Anybody up for that? And there's the 10% battery message, so let me try to do this again.
No, I think it's a power issue. Shouldn't be. I think. Alright, now we get the charge. Okay, and I got 12 minutes before AEW Rampage. I am watching that show, so fudge everybody who says, oh, that's not going to be long for this world, especially Discovery Plus. And with the Discovery merger with HBO, I don't really mind it. Oh, we're going to get less new stuff. Like, how could you go and cancel a $90 million movie that cost $90 million already with Batgirl? It's like, yeah, they got to take it to post, so they're not going to throw any more money at it. It wasn't their money that they spent initially, so can you blame them? And it's like, my older sister getting worried about the licenses, which could be problematic. They might lose Studio Ghibli. Granted, I've bought most of it, so I'm ready. Physical media forever. That's a tattoo idea I'd like to get. It's basically a VHS tape with just in the title box, just write SP for life, standard play, mother lovers. So, yeah. So, but it was fun. That panel. As I say, I just wish they would have gone and let us go a little nuts, but I do a podcast, which is essentially a historic documentation. So let's tell the story if they want to tell their story my way, I mean, their way, I can't blame them. And that was the next panel I went to, was actually how Toonami saved anime, which it did not. And they were very clear that it did not. But again, they got their facts a little jumbled. I think Toonami may have occurred before the Time Warner-Turner merger, but no, Turner already owned Hanna-Barbera, so basically Toonami was started to push those shows and throw in a couple old classics, which were initially Voltron and Thundercats. So again, it's just those little details. It's like, no, basically it's a good thing it wasn't a podcast, because I'd be yelling in the car, and I'd like to reserve my shouting and my car to cursing guaranteed rate field, which has kind of been lame since, one, I don't have anybody to appreciate me cursing a guaranteed rate field, but I don't even want to get into that alley drama there. It's bad enough I can't find any patches for her. For Craftworks that you can find at Allie's Accessory Shop on Etsy.com, it's on Etsy, Allie's Accessory Shop. I do post plenty of links on the websites. I operate NinetyForChill.com and MainEventOfTheDead.com. Easy to find the shop, but yeah, it needs a little work. So yeah, but again, digress. And I guess the big thing, though, tonight was ending it with another Channel Awesome panel. So they don't have any more panels the rest of the con. They got it all done tonight. As I say, I'll go and visit them in Artist Alley. And basically movies we all disagree about. And, there were some bad takes. Like, oh, Willy Wonka is worse than Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because Roald Dahl was totally disrespected. Roald Dahl's a freaking racist. Like, I'll stand for your eye, not for your eyes only. You only live twice. It's a racist movie, but it's James Bond, ninjas. I think I'd probably bring it up on the rest of the They Live podcast, which will come out soon. I cut it off right at a great moment. So believe me, just stick around for that one. So I mean that was the worst take, I think. I wish I could have been a little more vocal, but these guys were definitely in control of what they're doing. The Channel Awesome guys. I really only know the Nostalgia Critic, Brad, and the Cinema Snob. I watch a lot of Cinema Snob videos. I really think we should have focused more on Lloyd during the first Channel Awesome panel. I digress. But at least, I went up there and it's like, I can really talk about critics, I guess, because I think I'm good enough at selling about any movie to anybody, and I didn't want to do something boring like Hail Caesar, where I had a coworker, so that's the only movie she walked out of. And honestly, late Coen Brothers movies, 2000, right after No Country for Old Men, pretty divisive, I found. I don't like A Serious Man, but it's not because it's not a good movie. It's just so freaking authentic. Like, the Jewish guilt is like, no, I think maybe I saw it when I still flirted with religion. I just didn't need that. But as I say, good movie. I know I had a coworker who said, "Oh, Hail Caesar's the first movie I ever walked out on." During, I should say. And it's like, I don't know what you just don't get it. Frickin' millennials, what can I say? As the majority of my guests are millennials. Late millennials. They don't know what they're talking about. You gotta be 25 at least, I think, for me to understand you. So, okay, better try to wind it down. So my movie that I offered was, and I guess let me back up, like the movie that I really wanted to be more vocal. It's like there was a microphone that wasn't being used that was right next to me. I know the juice was on. It had to be on. I could have just said, about cats. Like the fact that the special effects look like Buffalo Bill decided to make a suit out of felines instead of, fat chicks. Or was she a big fat girl? Yeah. Oh, that's another controversy. I don't know if I'll have time to get into it. I only got 5 minutes before, and probably less than that because I got to find the frickin' channel on the TV. All right, so the movie I offered up, because I know it was critically panned, and understandably why, was Life Force. As I say, the Cinesnob is the guy I watched the most, and he picked up on it right away. And I had to sell it then to the Nostalgia Critic and the rest of the crowd, except for a guy in the back of the line, like, oh, represent. Good fellow, big pink shirt. Just like had to sell Life Force to these guys, and it's like, all right, naked vampire, space vampire roaming around London, zombie apocalypse. Steve Railsback, I think was the name of the actor, but more importantly, is making out with Patrick Stewart at one point. It's just so batshit. It probably is the reason why the Canon Group eventually went under. Superman 4 probably didn't help, but it's like, it wasn't really their money. But not to say they had a lot of money, so. Brad Jones, this Nostalgia Critic, looked at it, and on the IMDb, you can put naked boobs on movie posters. Like, the big thing about Life Force, and it's still like that, because I'm tempted to buy. It's a Shout Factory, so why am I tempted? Just buy it. You have your digital copy already on iTunes. Because it isn't They Live. It's not a good, it's an entertaining movie. Can't really say good, but I love it. And very English. And it's Tobe Hooper, the guy who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is a movie I do like to go and actually see. Again, I got my holes. I'm not going to deny that. So 3 minutes left. So yeah. Otherwise, the big thing for me was I sent out a tweet because I am addressing the Marty and Sarah crew. Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling is their podcast. Great listen. And because they talk about wrestling gear a lot, and I think they've brought up the fact that, Ronda Rousey kind of looks sloppy because she doesn't wear pantyhose into the ring with her gear. And it's like, okay, you want sloppy? See cosplay with women who aren't wearing pantyhose. Like, I'm sorry, I've seen way too many curdled calves on camis. That's easy to fix. Pantyhose. I know, the summer might be a bad time for it. But, hey, I'm just throwing that out there. And if you're a guy, again, bring up Bret Hart, like, as something they've talked about. The guy wore underwear, tights, singlet, briefs. Oh, no, so I guess it'd be layered. Underwear, singlet, tights, briefs. So he was not going to offend anybody on television. The person who would love to do that is Mr. Perfect. But this isn't a wrestling podcast, but it's something, I should bring up to Gregory Carl, who's going to be the guest. As I say, I just don't know how I'm going to get this all figured out and released because, I have Monday off to at least unwind from everything. But, I got to get back. As I say, I don't know if I'm going to have the coworker I was talking about. Some corporate bollocks. I hope he sticks around. We have both got screwed by banks. Busey in his case. So, I'm going to hit, Reed Pop, Busey, Marine Bank. I guess they're never going to sponsor me, but come on, Manscaped, make up for it. So, and, Sarah Joy Shockey responded to that tweet, just being very diplomatic. No, just let the girls do what they want. Have fun. And no, cosplay is an art. Let's do it right. That's all I'm saying. Gosh, I had an argument with a girl on Snapchat that just doesn't watch movies. Like, real interesting girl. Just, can't get her to commit to a pod. But, trying to video game nut, trying to find stuff. Like, well, I've seen the Tekken movies. Like, Gary Daniels, Hiroki Carrie Fukuyama. Oh, gosh. Again, this kind of sucks that I just have the phone and I'm watching everything record, but I don't know. So, I'm just, we were arguing on Snapchat about, there's a right way to make a steak, and that food can be art, and, I don't know. You can't win me on a take of, and that was a comment on my Twitter feed, this is one of the worst takes I've ever seen. It's so we're at 9:00 right now, so I gotta get to the wrestling. That's kind of nice that there isn't, at least that got that going on for me. What am I gonna do tomorrow? I'll probably have to take the Podocradoc off to the Hard Rock, but unless she's gonna go and find a cab and do sugar, just too pretentious. Don't give me Kardashian funded bollocks. Just because, and you get a glass glazed in icing for your milkshake, which you're paying $20 for. So, otherwise, as I say, Reed Pop is crap. The app was nothing more than a scam to get me to give up my Facebook information. So, I'm hoping they do me a favor, because they've heard about it multiple places now. And, so I'll do my Captain N cosplay tomorrow. I'm dealing with the fact that one of the pairs of shorts I bought lost the button, so it's oh, great. So, not a big deal. I just don't like going Bret Hart, because I primarily got tank tops. It's the summer, and long pants. I'd like to get into my Hot Topic Stinger jeans, all black, classic high school Russ. But, it's just kind of frustrating. A lot of frustrations. And I think, as I say, I'm just trying to wind down now. So, hopefully Mance Warner makes things interesting, beats John Moxley tonight to get a title shot. But, we will go from there. Hell, I might get to watch Battle of the Belts. So, I think I'm making the best of it. So, thanks for letting me look on the brighter side. Thanks, Stacia Harden, for looking after my ass. There's basically 10 days, no breaks so far, and probably another 2. But, you're looking after me. I hope doing you proud, and I hope you're still doing the best for everybody you touched in your life. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm just going to patch all these together. Just play around, I guess, with Podbean. If this works out nice, the recording sounds good, we'll just go and, they might have me for another year despite quit promoting Ben Shapiro and Joe Rogan. Their podcasts don't need it. I don't need it. Let's be responsible and not promote garbage. Because, 70% of the people in this country know it is. So let's just knock off the rest. So, NinetyForChill.com. I guess I'm signing off right now. If you want to be on the show, send an email to russthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. Just say you want to be on the show, and I'll work with you. As for my hot takes, that's at CatBusRuss on Twitter, at CATBUSRUSS. So thanks for tuning in so far. I'll see you, and we'll see if this is a one-off, or I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks.